Here we go. All right. Hey, welcome to the Instant Ink Comic Book Podcast. This is a podcast where we all come together as writers and podcasters and artists and everything, and we make a one-page comic, something that did not exist before we all got together. To prove that, what we do is we use some prompts that are generated live in front of you, and then we just come up with it on the fly. We get Roberto to draw it, and at the end of it, we have a really cool story that we didn't know that we were going to make today. So with that, I'd like to introduce myself. My name's Adriano. You can find me at Pesto Comics on nearly every social out there. And if you're having a hard time finding me there, you can find me at pestocomics.com. As usual, I am here with my co-host, Roberto Viacava. Roberto, please introduce yourself, please.
Okay, my name is Roberto Viacava. I'm the creator of Voyager and founder of Green Iceberg Press. Right now, it should be on Kickstarter, it should be live or about to launch a project with the co-creator of Voyager, but this time with another artist. And the project is called Nathaniel Fox and the Tomb of Human. It's a kind of Indiana Jones character, and it's really fun. So check it out. Wow, if you can find me on robertoviacavaillustration.com.
As always, of course. And today we have a very special guest. I'm confusing guest and host because he's a host of an excellent podcast with Longbox Punk. Chris, let's introduce yourself. Let him know where to find you.
Well, hey, first, thank you for having me. This is exciting. I am Chris in the Longbox Funk, and if you don't know about my show, I like to talk to indie comic creators like Adriano about their process, about their intersection of the DIY mindsets and making comics and punk rock. And if any of those feel like they are right up your alley, you can find me on YouTube, your favorite podcasting platform, or on Threads, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Longbox Punk. That's how you find me, and that's how you keep up with all of the creators that I have going on the show.
Right on. That's awesome. And yeah, like you mentioned, I was a guest on your show. It was a lot of fun. But you've had a lot of cool guests on. I always enjoy seeing who you have. It's, there's a lot of spaces for indies to kind of get their word out there, but there's nothing like your show where you kind of get to know them in a totally different way. Especially when we're talking about music and all that kind of stuff, it's getting to see a whole different side of people. So it's really cool what you're doing out there. And yeah,
Thanks.
People definitely need to check that out for sure. All right. So before we get too into all the other stuff, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen because my screen has some prompts on it. We're going to ignore those prompts because I'm going to make new prompts. And that's what we're going to go with. Yeah. So let me bring that up. It does take a second. Okay. So like I said, please ignore these. I'm going to hit this little button here and I'm going to read these out to you. I don't think we have any. Oh, we have one repeat. So if none of these speak to you, we'll let you do a refresh, but I'm going to read the ones that we can use today. We have backhanded insult. Write about a character being backhandedly insulted. All right. Not much of a description there. Tearjerker. Something that makes you cry. Closed doors. A situation where an opportunity ended up being taken away for a bad reason. And spice rack. How does a character add spice to a situation? That's an interesting description. All right. Any of those speaking to you? Or are we doing a refresh? What do you think?
An opportunity ended up being taken away for a bad reason. I don't understand what that means. I feel like so I'm a big horror person. I feel like I have seen people scared so much that they were in tears.
Okay.
And I feel like that might be a different direction to take Tearjerker instead of like The Notebook and all of my ex-girlfriend's favorite rom-coms. Take it in a horror direction instead. So I think if you're cool with it, I think we're down for a Tearjerker.
Wonderful. Okay. That works. I like it. It's always a good sign when people have something spark, right? So, so that's good. All right. Hey, Roberto, share your screen when you can, and then we will start thinking about Tearjerker. So we're going the horror angle. So we know that. Now, what does that mean? Do you have something in mind?
I don't. I was told by PJ Curling to come with an open mind and no predispositions or ideas, and so I literally came to you with a blank mind.
All right.
But if we're thinking horror, and we're thinking one page. I like, I don't know, Roberto. How do you feel about monsters? Like some creepy, like a hybrid, like a nanny who like takes care of kids, but it's actually like she's a giant spider that like steals children.
Okay.
And like keeps the kids in her web. Um, that's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't know how to make that a one pager. Because I haven't made too many comics in my day.
Right. I think you're on to something. So
So
the way I always recommend this is if you're having a hard time thinking of the narrative, like you start from the end as a one page, especially easy if
Yeah.
you kind of know where you're ending, and then you work your way backwards, right?
Yeah.
And I think you have it. So if you have this monster that's like a granny spider thing with all the children caught up in the web, like that's your final reveal, right?
yeah,
So how do you
how do we get
build
to
to
that?
Yeah.
So I think maybe starting with just like Granny's face, uh, like maybe like a close up, and she's talking about caring for these children, and it's her first person narrative of
Okay.
she sees herself as the caretaker and she loves her little babies and talking about what she learns and what she's excited about seeing from all of these different kids over the years to set up the like, oh, she's been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
And so maybe we start with like a close up of her almost human looking face
Mm-hmm.
and then go to maybe like two kids framing her face who both are, we can't tell, like they're actually crying, but they look like they might be laughing.
Okay.
And then we go back to maybe a wider shot of not just her face, but we start to see kind of in the dark shadows some of the giant spider features.
Mm-hmm.
And then just bam, final, like she's got all these kids. Some are, husks at this point. She might be cradling one still, or one of the, the two kids that we saw earlier in like the second panel. And then it hits like, oh, she's like this weird spider demon monster thing.
Nice.
And she's like stealing these children to harvest them.
I think that works. So it's like a constant like zoom out, and you're just seeing more and more and more.
Yeah.
And who's she? Is it like going to be like a captain like voiceover situation, or is this her talking to someone? Is there somebody that's being currently trapped in this? It's like her next victim, and she's explaining. Like,
Oh, like maybe she's talking about it. Like she brought like a single dad with his kids to her place, and she's coming out of the shadow, which is why we only see little bits at a time. And then finally, like one of her legs flips on the light switch, and that's when we see the just macabre webs and the kids strung up, and maybe like the profile of a terrified dad, like, oh my God. And
Yeah.
she's already got the kids.
Yeah. Okay. How do we fit that? How do we fit that on one page? I think it's a good idea. So, and just by having somebody who's like entrusting their children with this person, already builds the conflict, because it's like, why does this guy look like maybe he's the one crying, right?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, but where are my children? And she's like, oh, don't worry about that, or something like that, right?
And
that's when
like,
you get the light switch.
yeah, and like, why is he so desperate to have somebody else watch his kids? Like,
Yeah.
what does he have going on? Or like, what are the are the kids a problem?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of different
Different
routes.
angles you could go with it.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it. Roberto, what are you thinking in terms of space?
I think so to clarify, it's a parent with the kid that is interviewing on this spider nanny in her house, and at the end there's the reveal that she's a spider. Okay, yeah, I think we can do it.
Okay, cool. All right, let's see what Roberto looks up with that description, and we'll return once once he needs some input. So relieving Roberto of responsibilities of having to be in the conversation. All right. Let us know. So, what's going on with you, man? What's the latest concert you've been to? I know you went on a trip since we've talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. How's
So,
that all been?
just a couple things happening in the House of Punk. I'm gonna trademark that. So my wife and I just celebrated 10-year anniversary.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you, in November, and we don't do anything on time. And so we celebrated our 10-year in January. We went to Disney and Universal,
Nice.
and we did the full board trip. We did all 4 parks at Disney. We did 1 day park to park at Universal. Stayed on property for both Disney and
Oh, wow.
Universal. And so like transportation was great because Disney does the Skyliner.
Oh,
If
yeah.
you're staying on property, where you basically hop in a little like ski lift type of thing,
Mhm.
and it takes you to the park that you're going to, or you can hop on a bus and the buses will take you straight to the park that you're going to. So like the magic of Disney is real.
Yeah.
It's
They
insane.
do a lot right. Yeah, they do a lot
Yeah.
right.
And
I've
have
been
you
a few
been?
times myself. Yeah.
Okay.
As an adult, I'm one of those nerds. I'm like a Disney adult. I'm not full on, but
Listen,
I've been and I've enjoyed it. And
I know it's going to be like ultra micro tiny, but I am a big pin person.
oh, nice.
And the first time we went, I was like, I want to get a pin from every park that we go to. And so I did that. And then this time, so we went first for our 5-year anniversary. And I was like, we can afford to do this every 5 years. So we'll do on the 5s.
Yeah.
And so this time I was like, I just want to find some cool pins. Like, whatever speaks to me in the moment.
Nice.
And so I found a bunch that spoke to me this time. I brought my daughter, who is 18 now.
Oh, nice.
I brought her a pin of She Loves Tangled. And so I brought her a pin of the Tangled Princess. And I was like, hey, you're getting a pin for me because I bought a bunch of pins on the trip. And she was like, no, I don't really have any. This is great. And I was like, cool. Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. And like she's at an age where she can appreciate getting that kind of gift instead of throwing it on the pile. It has some meaning. That's awesome. Yeah. I got to show you, actually. You said 10, and you're going to receive yours before this ever airs. But I want to show you, or got it next to me. It just hit me. Oh, man. Now I'm like weird and out of frame, but that's okay. People will deal.
That's right. That's what happens when you podcast. You just,
that's right.
You never know what's going to happen.
Right? It's all about the excitement. Like, what could this guy be grabbing? What is so important that he's willing to derail a conversation? So you were the first backer on my last Kickstarter, which will be like my second or third last. Yeah, so I got these awesome pins. They just came in.
Oh, that's like awesome.
Right? I know you're a big pin guy now.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
Yeah. So this trip the weather was less than magical. Like, it was cold in Florida. It was rainy 3.5 of the 5 days we were there.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But we still had a really good time. And like, I left this trip. The first trip I was just like, wow, Disney does so many things well. This time I left and I was like, I feel so inspired to just create something incredible. And like, I came back, there was a quote, like, there's the Walt Disney statue with Mickey in Magic Kingdom in front of Cinderella's castle, and everybody takes that picture. And they did the fireworks show, and I was always like, fireworks, like, okay. We watched fireworks show at Epcot and at Magic Kingdom, and dude, I was like a sobby, blubbering mess. Dude, because I was just like, this is so powerful. And so, like, this time I was like, I have to find a pin. There's a quote that Walt Disney said where he says, sometimes it's fun to do the impossible. And I was like, man, if that's not like the quote for me, like that's very DIY. Like that's very, Walt Disney was a punk, because like that's such a punk thing to say, of like, you tell me it's impossible, watch me do it. And
Yeah.
it is this legacy that has Disney adults that still are thriving, and kids are still thriving. Like, so I found one of the pins, and I'm going to pull this thing back out. But they had a pin that said, sometimes
Oh, amazing.
do the impossible. And I was like, man, I need to get this pin. Like, I've already bought way too many pins on this trip. What's one more? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Well, that one, it has some meaning. You have to get it, right?
Yeah, it's not
That's
just
awesome.
like a park I went to. It's not just like an homage to one of my favorite rides. Like that quote, I was just like, man, that's so good. Like, I want to get like a giant poster and put it above my desk and just look at it every day. I don't know if that makes me a Disney adult. True confessions, I think I'm a Disney adult now, but yeah, it was,
I'm here for it, man.
really, dude, it was such a good trip. Like, we had a blast. We had a ton of fun in spite of terrible weather and like really rude people and all
Oh
the
no.
but like we still had a good time. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, so that's that was the most recent thing. I hate to say it, but I haven't really been to any concerts recently.
Oh, okay. It's winter. There's not too much out there. It's fine.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt you there. So what do you think about the panel layout?
So we see her with a baby first, and then
Yes.
the dad with the kid.
Yeah.
And then we see her with some of the more kids, but some of the yeah. No, that looks great.
Okay. No more panels. That's enough.
I think that's perfect.
Okay. I'm gonna keep working on it.
Excellent. But yeah, so Disney. So you did Disney, and you said you did Universal as well?
Yeah.
So you did the whole Harry Potter thing?
We tried. We honeymooned at Universal to go to Harry Potter World.
Okay.
And I think we got spoiled because there weren't crazy crowds. There wasn't like a whole bunch of nonsense happening. Like, the weather was perfect. And this time around, I almost had a panic attack just trying to get into the queue line for one of the rides.
Oh my goodness.
Because it had been like up and down and up, and then it was broken, so it was down. And we had given up on it. And we had happened to be walking by when they were like, if you're going to ride Hagrid's ride, go through the lockers and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, it's open, babe. Like, let's get in now, and hopefully we can ride it before it breaks down again. But there was such a swell of people that it was like, I couldn't move. Like, I had my backpack, and I was just like, just moving along with the crowd.
Yeah.
As everyone was pushing and shoving, and they were trying to yell at the people, like, stop pushing and shoving, you'll get ejected. And it was just like, we finally got through it all and got into the line. And I was just like, I need to go get a Wizard's brew immediately, babe. And it was just so stressful. And then we got probably like what should have been a normal 15-minute wait all the way up in the line after waiting. And then they came on, they're like, we're experiencing temporary delays. And I was like, okay, we're right here. And he said temporary, so that's 20 minutes or less, because I used to work at a theme park. So like, okay, And so we just sat down. And then about 20 minutes later, they're like, we're experiencing long-term delay. And
No.
I looked at my wife and like both of us just died a little inside. We rode 2 rides the entire day.
Oh my goodness.
They were both Harry Potter rides, but we only rode 2 rides all. It was a mess, dude. There were so many people.
That's brutal. Okay, so I've been lucky the odd times I've gone. Like you when you went, it was very rainy, but that seemed to scare everyone away. So it was
Yeah.
like to our advantage. Like we were miserable being like drenched, but we were walking on to everything because
Yeah.
everybody took the day off. But it sounds like that didn't happen for you this time.
Yeah. So Universal was like, it rained in the morning, but the forecast was like a high of 65, like maybe partly cloudy after it
Sure.
cleared up. So I think everybody did what we did, and we just slept until like 8 and then started getting ready to avoid the rain. And because of that, we got there when everybody else got there, and it had been raining for 3.5 days. So
Yeah.
I think the locals were like, oh, we can finally go to the parks now.
Yeah.
So like we had that on top of people that planned to be there, and it was a Friday. So it was like the start of a weekend.
Yeah.
So it's like they were, going into the weekend doing Universal. That's what they did. And so it was just a perfect cluster.
Perfect storm.
And it was,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh
So
man.
I was like, so next time we go for our 15 year, we're going to try a different time of year, still while all the kids are in school, and see if it's better than it was in January. So
Yeah. That's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah, I think when I went, it was October and December because we went for Halloween and Christmas,
yeah,
right? Have you done the California parks before or just the?
we have only done Florida.
Oh, okay.
I would love to go to California for the Avengers compound.
Oh, yes, yeah.
And like maybe we'll do that instead for the 15 year.
Mhm.
But yeah, because we both like, she's never been, I've never been, so it'll be new for both of us. She'd been to Disney in high school and as a kid. So she was like, oh yeah, I've ridden that. And I'm like, it's all brand new.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I get that feeling. Yeah.
yeah, like if we go to Florida, it's gonna be new for all of us. All of us.
Yeah.
Both of us. So like,
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, because like it's kind of weird too. Like, because like Orlando is like all theme park, right? Like the way Disney World is set up, it's like everything. Like you're going to Epcot, and then the next day you're going to another park. In California, like Anaheim is like Disney City. So like you're probably flying into LA, and LA is what it is. Like I love the city, but it's a bit of a mess, right? It's a big urban center. It's what you expect, right?
Yeah.
And then you drive down to Anaheim, and it's like nice and manicured, and like all of the palm trees are like the ones you imagine in your dreams of California.
Yeah.
It's like it's really like the city is like a Disney city.
Yeah.
But the parks are like a regular park. It's like going to a Six Flags almost. Like,
Oh.
it's still Disney. Like it's still very like they do everything Disney does. But there's like one entrance, and like left is your like big ride park with all the roller coasters and stuff. It's a California Adventure, and then on your right is the Disneyland. Like you walk in down Main Street, same like you do in Orlando, right? With the Magic Kingdom. The castle is different because it's like the original Disneyland castle that like Walt would be in and all that stuff.
Yeah.
What's cool about there though is they like can point stuff out and be like, that was his office, and you know what I mean? So they have all that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But it's a very different experience in that way. And then to do Universal, it's all the way at the other side of town. I think is it in Burbank? It's in or Central City, or anyway, the other side of LA. But there it's attached to Universal Studios proper. So like you can do like a studio tour as one of the rides, which is really cool. Yeah. Right? They take you around the like Jaws like set and stuff, and like the Psycho House, and anyway, so totally different experience on the Universal end of things, and kind of like a bizarre like first draft experience at Disney. So amazing. But like Florida just was like the dream realized almost.
Yeah.
Right? and you can kind of see the start of it in California. But yeah, Universal's like a totally different thing. And then you got to do the Warner Brothers tour when you go, and you got to do like all the other, stuff. And then you
Yeah.
being like a music guy, there's tons and tons of stuff to do there. So yeah,
It would be like I have several reasons to go to California.
yeah, exactly. Right. Where like going to Orlando, like I'm going to Park A, then Park B, then Park C, right? And then I'm coming home.
And then I'm gonna drive home.
Yeah, right. Where if you're going to California, then like they have all the same stuff in a sense, but like also a bunch more. So, yeah, I love going there. I don't know how all the like the fires and stuff has changed anything. I know it didn't hit any of those areas, but
Yeah.
I don't know how like how different it is getting in and out of there or anything like that. But have you ever been at all? Like, have you been to?
I spent about 2 minutes and 15 seconds running through LAX.
Yeah,
That's my experience in California, though.
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's I had been to Chicago, but that's effectively like most of the time I've been to Chicago is that it's like going through O'Hare, and then I did go check out a Blackhawks game once because I had to, but
Yeah. See,
yeah,
I've flown into Chicago a ton of times. I have never actually been outside of the airport of Chicago. And it's only like a 6-hour drive for me.
like you could totally go on a weekend.
Yeah. Like my sister in high school used to weekend in Chicago, like
Yeah.
monthly. She loved it. And I'm like, I have just never been, but I need to get there at some point to see the Blackhawks game. So
Yeah, it's worth checking out. Like it's you know, we talked on your podcast. I've gone to all kinds of hockey cities and that, right? Yeah, I really do love Columbus. The team is frustrating as all hell, but
yes.
but the experience in the arena is surprisingly one of the best in the like given the quality of what's on ice. When
Yeah. They put all the money in the arena and the
Yeah.
experience and not the team or the players.
yeah, right. So, like the best times was when you had a mask there, and that was about it. And it hasn't gone back to that time.
No.
But
No.
yeah, I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed going to Columbus, even though the team's frustrated.
Yeah.
As a Red Wings fan, it was like there was a weird kind of rivalry when they were both in the close in the West for a while. And anyway, you can
Which is
talk hockey.
bizarre to have an Ohio team in the Western Conference.
It was
But
a very strange. It was very frustrating. Again, watching Detroit in the middle of the night. I'm in Toronto, so I'm in Eastern time, the same as Detroit. But all their games are on at 10 because they're playing all these Western teams all the time. So I'm glad they finally corrected that. Yeah.
But I mean, the Detroit arena is really nice too. Like we were just there last year,
Nice.
2024. No, yeah, we were there in March of 24. And I actually met. So there's a guy that like he and I connected on Twitter years ago because he used to do a Valiant comic podcast, and I love Valiant comics, and like we just connected that way. And just became like social media best friends because I would post stuff and he'd be like, "Oh my God, yes!" And then he would like similar experience, and so like we just kept talking, and eventually it was like, "Dude, here's my cell phone. Like, just text me. Where are you?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm in Michigan." I was like, "Shut the front door. I'm in Ohio." So then we found out that we were both hockey fans, and then it started a whole thing. So fast forward to last year. I met him, he brought his son to the game that we were at. And like between periods, we met in the intermission. Heck, like, it's so good to meet you in person. Hugged each other. He hugged my wife. I hugged his kid. We got a picture together. We high-fived. And then I was like, all right, I got to go to the bathroom and I got to get a refill. And then we got to get back to it.
Yeah.
So,
The game's starting in 5 minutes. Like,
Right.
intermission's not that long. Yeah. That's awesome, though.
he's the first person that I've ever like met online on social media and then been able to meet in person. And like, I was actually just texting him last night He's been on the show, Can Be.
Oh, yeah.
He does a lot of like super fun stuff. He is working on a project about Pogs called Slammers, and it's like an action manga style
That's amazing.
comic
Yeah.
about Pogs.
For anyone that remembers Pog.
Yeah. Which, speaking of going off screen, so another post-punk, Jay Red, on his Incision issue number 2, sent out, he 3D printed, it's
Oh,
not
amazing.
focusing, a Pog Slammer.
Oh, man.
And like that's the main character's fist and his like spear weapon things, and then included like 3 Pogs as
Oh,
fun
man, that is-
awards as well.
That's such a cool idea.
Yeah,
I feel like it's a cool idea for the people that would be supporting things on Kickstarter because we're all of a certain vintage that would appreciate a Pog.
yeah. I
Yeah.
immediately was like, dude, I will meet you in the bleachers after school. Like, it's going down, dude. Can I still have all mine?
Yeah.
I never got
Oh.
rid of them.
I just went through my parents' like attic and I just got my binder of old Pogs back. It threw me back. I wish I had access to it right now. If I could
My binder. So I have a binder that's got like X-Men Pogs because of
Oh,
course
nice.
I do.
yeah.
And a bunch of like the yin yang and 8-ball Pogs because those were supposed to be collectible.
Sure,
So
yeah.
those are all in like binder sleeves. And then I have like 7 tubes of
Oh, wow.
Pogs and Slammers. Yeah, it's dumb. I don't know why I still have them. But I used to play with my daughter when she was like 6. So like I'm instilling true value in you, kid. You're gonna be the only one that knows how to play Pogs.
Yeah. So true. It's a lost art. I'm
It
shocked
is.
they haven't made a comeback. I'm honestly shocked, given like how popular like Pokemon cards and all those things have been lately.
Yeah.
Like you would think, because everybody wants like in this digital world we live in, everybody's looking for physical things to collect. Like,
Yeah.
well, that's perfect. They're nice and compact and mailable, right? So people
Right.
can do their online trading and all that, which wasn't a thing when Pogs were a thing, right?
Oh,
Right? So like, I'm shocked. I'm shocked there isn't a market for it.
I think there is. It's just an untapped market. So
Yeah, like it's not like last August I went to a show that called itself Comic Con, and it really could have been called like Pokemon Card Con or something because
Yeah.
it was 99% Pokemon cards. So I was like flanked by both of them, and they were selling cards for 300, 400, and we're talking about like not toddlers. I'm just being rude now. Well, young kids who are like throwing serious cash for these damn Pokemon cards that I don't know if you were ever into that or Magic, and you're like shuffling those and destroying them, and 'cause
Yeah.
you're playing the damn game, right?
Yeah.
And these guys are like, well, like maybe they play the game, but they're protected in these sleeves, and like, man, for all I know, I had some epic card because I was buying them when they were original, and I just mangled it shuffling that deck constantly.
yeah, they were all ripped. Like I had hand me
Yeah.
downs that my neighbor had, and he was like, "I don't want this crap anymore," and like gave them all to me. And I was like, "I don't know what to do with these," and so I just pitched them.
Right? And you had that Charmander or whatever that what's the
Yeah.
one of those Paul Brothers wears around his neck.
Right. Yes. Yeah, I don't know that I had that one.
Yeah, me neither. But
Wait, yeah, no. So a buddy of mine collects them and does the whole thing, and he's probably like 6 years younger than I am, so he's like early 30s. But for when he had his bachelor party, every time I went to my local comic shop, I bought another pack of cards for him,
nice.
and I wanted to put him in like a Gatorade thing and like dump it on him at his bachelor party.
Watch him cry.
But then I remembered like that would make him cry. So I gave him, I ended up with, I think, 9 packs of cards that I gave to him. And I was like, here's what I wanted to do. And he was like, dude, I'm so glad you didn't. Because if I didn't have, like, I might be able to upcycle some of mine for better copies of these that are right out of the pack. You know what I mean? And I was like, I don't actually, but okay. Just imagine I'm dumping them on you. And
yeah. Just
you'll
just
get
know
it.
that the sentiment was there. Like I wanted to, but because I respect you,
Yeah. Yeah. I too am a collector. I get it.
right? Yeah, just tracking those like TGP variant covers. Like you want to read it though, don't you? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. We get it. But
Yeah.
I can't wrap my head around the whole collection of it because like I understand people who collect it. I understand all that. Like I was looking into it. Like, is this something that like I was inspired sitting next to all these children that are throwing serious money around. So I'm like, how do I get into this? And I'm like so lost. Like it is not the game that I left way back when.
Yeah.
It's like there's so
And
many
there's not
different
just,
decks and levels. And,
yeah. Like,
yeah.
'cause I had to ask his now wife, like, hey, there's 3 different labeled boxes of Pokemon cards. Like, what does he collect? And she was like, oh, he does the Vivid Voltage pack. And I was like,
That's exactly it. Yeah.
okay, yeah. And so like I've been going to the same shop for over a decade, and I'm pretty sure it's the one I used to go to as a kid.
Amazing.
That my dad would bring me to. And so like the owner I walk in and the owner like knows me. It's the perfect local comic shop situation.
Right.
But when I bought that first pack, there was a little bit of judgment. When I was like, hey, can I get one of those Vivid Voltage Pokemon packs? And he was like, one of these? Yeah, Jeff, one of those. It's okay. So my buddy's getting and like I had to explain the
like use it away.
yeah, I was like, I'm being a really good friend, Jeff. Don't judge me. They're not for me. I don't get it. He was
Yeah.
like, okay, I mean, whatever. Yeah, I'll tell you whenever you want to buy. And I was like, of course you will. Right?
It's the Disney adult thing all over again. You know? It's like, no, I'm going for me. And they're like, oh, like how young are your kids? It's like non-existent. I'm going on my
No,
own because I'm going to enjoy it.
It's just us. That's why we're
Yeah.
going Monday through Friday during the
Right.
school year, because none of your brats are going to be there.
That's right. We want to enjoy the time there. I'm with you, man. But it's good. You're very much your own person, and
Right.
it's just
And
what you-
like, I don't know, because I feel like I talk about it all the time. But I like it's so profound. So Charles Soule, the author, written a bunch of novels, done a ton of comics work. 8 Billion Genies is his. Curse Words is his. My library did like a virtual artist or creator interview thing, and he was talking about like a prose novel thing. But I was like, I don't care. That's Charles Soule. I'm listening. And she was talking about like this is a very niche, like it's a very sci-fi, like there's romance and friendship and buddy cop, but like it's a very niche corner that you're writing to. And he said, well, yeah, not everything is for everyone. So like if you know your audience, then that's all. And I was just like, hang on a second, time out. Like, what did you just, and I literally like rewound the video because I never watch anything as it happens because I'm usually working. As I host a live podcast. I'm an idiot. But like he was like, yeah, not everything has to be for everyone. And I was just like, dude, that's my new mantra. Like it doesn't, if you don't like Kamala Khan, okay, you're probably not a teenage girl.
right? Go figure.
Like, and guess what? Marvel knows that. They know it's not made for everybody. You're not making any new waves by being angry about it. Like, if you don't like Sam Wilson as Captain America, which you should, because he's got a very different fight for Captain than Steve did for Captain. And I like that dynamic. And like the way that they've written. Have you seen Brave New World?
Yeah. I don't know if Roberto has one.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I'm really
any more than the posters of the trailer already has for everyone, but
that's why I don't watch trailers. I didn't see
there
a
you
single
go.
trailer going into that movie.
Right.
But I like all the people that are like, not my Captain America. It's like, you're right. It's not. It wasn't made for you either because you're probably a middle-aged white dude, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole point of it is it's not for you and it doesn't have to be for you.
Yeah, and the truth is they already have you. Like
Yeah.
this is the thing. Like they're trying to expand their audience.
Yep.
They know that though you might vetch and complain about how you've changed and gone astray from what you expect, you're
Yeah.
gonna buy it anyway because you're not gonna break your run.
Yeah.
So they're gonna try to get somebody new by doing
Yeah.
something different, right? And are all of them great? Absolutely not. Like sometimes things don't work out, but you don't know unless you swing for it, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
like they got all of the like basement dwelling knuckle draggers with the first phase. Like that's who that was
That's
for.
right. Yeah.
Was like this is for the established fans who know these characters and want to see them on the big screen. We're giving you exactly what you want here.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, more. And so Marvel said, cool, we'll give you more, but like we're gonna drop Doctor Strange, who like honestly there wasn't really a mainstream. He was like a B or like even C, like widely known Guardians of the Galaxy. Who the hell knew the Guardians were before that movie, other than the basement dwelling knuckle draggers? Like,
yeah.
very few people,
Mhm.
and yet it was a smash hit.
Mhm.
And like that's what Marvel's doing is they develop this audience and then they say we're going to push you just another 10%.
Mhm.
And we still think you'll like it. Bear with us, trust us. And I'm like, I trust you, Kevin. So like just give me whatever you're making, man. And he does. And then I'm like, I don't think that was you're forcing this,
Mhm.
but you really nailed it with this project.
Mhm.
And like so, and that's how like similarly, I haven't loved every Marvel project. I've liked every Marvel project I've watched. The only
Yeah.
one I haven't watched yet is Agatha.
Mm,
And that's
yeah.
because we're still finishing another series. And once we finish that one, then we're gonna move to Agatha. So like
Fair enough. Yeah.
it's just a matter of timing, not like, oh, it's not for me. Like I want to watch it because I loved WandaVision.
yeah.
So
And
like,
the TV shows are harder to keep up with, to be fair. as
yeah.
well. But
There's so much like
Yeah.
just so, and DC does really well with their shows
Mhm.
where they were because I love the Titans show. I really enjoyed of course I'm forgetting it now. What was the other DC show that they did similar to that? Not Swamp Thing because I haven't watched that yet. There's another DC show. We liked Gotham, right?
Gotham
There's
was
like
excellent. Yeah.
12 seasons of that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then that's not even bringing in all the CW DC stuff.
Mhm.
Like I loved Arrow. We named our guinea pig after the Flash. So
Oh, nice.
obviously we're like the Flash, like, you know, big fans of Legends of Tomorrow. And I hope to see more Constantine because I love him. And like all of DC does that really well, but there's so much of it.
It really is. Yeah. Have you seen Penguin yet? That was also excellent.
That was just on Max. We have
Mhm.
not watched that one yet because I wanted to watch Agatha more than Penguin.
Okay.
Because like if I'm being honest, I don't really have a big affinity for Penguin.
You don't
So,
have to.
like
I felt the same. Where I'm like, I didn't even care for the Batman so much. Like I thought it
Okay.
was 3 movies that were stitched together kind of thing.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So I wasn't terribly excited to watch it. Fortunately, my brother's like my litmus test. If he ever gets ahead of me on a show, he'll tell me and be like, it's fine. Like get through the first 2 episodes, you'll like it. Or, he's like my guidepost. He's like, no, watch Penguin. Like it was excellent. Like it's just The Sopranos in a Batman universe. Like so good, right? So
Okay.
you don't have to care for the Penguin so much. It's the crime drama of it all, which is what comic book movies and films and all this stuff should be doing, right? That's
Yeah.
what Winter Soldier did so well that I think Brave
Yeah.
New World tried and just didn't commit to. That it
Yeah.
wanted to do this like espionage, like political drama that Winter Soldier, right? Winter Soldier,
Yeah.
did very, very well. Like that was probably my favorite of all of the Marvel movies, if you don't count Endgame. because Endgame obviously shouldn't
Yeah,
count. It's like
you
the
really shouldn't.
crown
Like,
jewel,
yeah,
right?
like, everybody knows Endgame is like S tier, top tier, whatever tier you want to put
Always.
it at.
Yeah.
Like, it's double S tier, right? Like, you can't even. It's off the screen
Yeah.
because it did everything for the fans. It was purely Kevin Feige saying thank you for an incredible 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, that's what that was.
And it paid
And
everything off. So like you just
Yeah.
can't replicate it, right? Like it's a
Yeah.
different thing.
you
So-
need 15 years
Yeah.
of the stuff to have another movie that's going to hit that well.
Yeah. And
So,
15
like-
years of like beloved, like not middling. Like if they tried it now, it just wouldn't pay off the same. Like it was the culmination of all of these films that everyone is super into. You know, the payoff was just that much bigger, right?
Yeah.
Where, yeah, like when they do it now, like they got some work to do to get there. Because they try, I think part of the problem is they're trying to repeat the formula, right? And they can't. Like,
Yeah.
they are DC now. They're doing what DC did. DC is like, we want to do the same thing, and then try to like rush it. And it's like Marvel's doing the exact same thing. They almost forgot what DC did wrong, and now they're replicating it. Where it's like, we're gonna have Avengers in 3 years. We got to hit that benchmark. The stock got to pop, right?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
before it
it's
was
all
like a
about the money,
creative
man.
thing. Yeah, always. You don't get Disney World if you don't get that money, though.
Right.
It's like it's a give and take. But yeah, that's why I think you can't really replicate it too, right? Like it's
Yeah.
They had the freedom to work up to it because one, it was something that had never really been done before on film, right? And then two, it's like nobody's expecting it. Where once that was done, they're like, "Cool, that was amazing. Do it again." Right?
Can we do it again, but different?
Yeah.
Like, how do we get a gajillion dollars in profit in our
Right.
opening weekend? Like, how do we shatter every box office record that has ever existed ever?
Yeah.
And it's like you don't.
Right? Yeah, exactly. So to use like a music analogy, right? You get your band, they've been playing together for 10 years, and then they get their big break and their debut album, and their debut album is incredible because it's the thing they've been refining and playing shows and like
For years.
right? And then they bring it out and they tour it, and then they're like, "What's next?" Right? You have a year because we got to get you on tour again.
Yeah.
Well, obviously that's why you always get that sophomore slump, right? It's not just that they're out of ideas. You're preparing something they've refined and built over time to
Yeah.
something that now has a deadline before it's even created, right? So it's the same thing with this Marvel stuff. And yeah, I do find, so there's one band, I don't know if you know the Italian band, Maneskin. They're like,
Yeah.
So like they've decided that they're just gonna like take a break. Technically, it's like their fourth album or whatever that just came out, but it's their first like big American album they just came out with. Did really well. They toured it, the whole thing, and then they kind of like split up and went their own ways. And they're like, "We'll come back when we feel inspired to come back," right? And it feels like, you know what? That's the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like
Dude,
come back when you have
100%.
things to say, not just to get the material out. You know?
Yeah. Don't give us a Linkin Park remix album. Because the record
right.
company is on your back and you can't replicate Hybrid Theory because it was 12 years in the making. Like,
Right?
it's as a music fan and a fan of that band, like, it's okay, guys. Like, take a breath. Just we'll ignore the reanimation ever happened and go straight from Hybrid Theory to Meteora. And like, that's natural.
Right? Yeah. I was there for that, but I really hit home. But that was a good example.
As soon as we were like, we can put it in music, I was like, Linkin Park. Because like,
I know where you're going with it.
every single song on that album, except for the one DJ song, every single song on that charted.
Yeah.
And like, point to any other band that's ever done that with their debut album. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so then the pressure was on because it was so big. And then they were just like, you can't force the creative juices. Like, you can't, it's a process, man. Like,
Right?
so,
Yeah. And they were like at the forefront of like the whole new metal thing too.
mhm.
Right? So it was like, yeah, it's you almost like they didn't necessarily introduce the genre, but they were at the pinnacle of it. And now it's like, yeah, like I'll do it again. like,
Yeah.
like they like created something almost, right?
Yeah.
And now you're like, yeah, well, so you did a cool trick. Do another one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You want to owning? Like, come on,
Yeah.
you made something else.
Yeah. Well, that's intense pressure. But yeah, so it's just interesting how that comes about. But I get it. If you're the problem with Marvel is they can't stop, right?
Yeah.
Like they have to keep
There's
releasing
expectation now. Like,
Yeah.
and not just from fans who are like, well, you haven't done my favorite character yet.
Yeah.
So you can't be done. Like,
right.
all of us X-Men people are
Mhm.
like, just like, please do the X-Men right.
Yes. And I do appreciate that. They haven't just like set it out, right? Like Fantastic Four took a while and it looks like
Yep.
they're doing something really cool with it. They haven't just been like, all right, here, X-Men, you happy? Like
Yeah.
Wolverine just shows up. There you go, done. Like,
Oh, so you want Wolverine? No, actually, like, I
Yeah.
don't even need you to recast him. Like, I don't want Wolverine in an X-Men movie for it to be an X-Men movie.
right?
Like, it can be good without Wolverine. Because
Well, and-
guess what? There's other it's X-Men, not X-Wolverine.
Exactly. Well, and if they do it right, they have something else in their pocket for later, right? Because there's always going to be that question because you
Yeah.
know he's coming. So
Yeah.
it's like, well, if they can get away with doing a series of films before he ever shows up, and then it really builds for like who's he going to be and the way to do it. And I think with that side of thing, with the Fox properties,
Yeah.
they seem to be taking that time. But with their own stuff, the MCU original stuff, yeah, they're like, there's like a church. Like we have to have something this year. What are we doing? All right, we're doing Thunderbolt. We're doing whatever. We're doing,
Yeah.
right? So it's, yeah, they don't have that luxury of saying, you know what, we're not going to make any Marvel for 2-3 years while we get our act together. That's just
Yeah.
not a choice. So we're
There
just going to get
was-
these middling things for now.
We got that, like, what was it, 18 months of like, there's some weird stuff with Jonathan Majors. Maybe we
Yeah, it's like that and the strike and the so it's like everything kind of lined up that it's like, okay, like there's
Yeah.
just going to be nothing in the theater for a year.
and that's fine because they still put out shows, right? Like we still
Yeah.
got what were even the shows that we just got? Like we just got Agatha at the end of
Loki
October.
2. Yeah.
Loki 2 we got, which was insane.
Mhm.
I honestly, like, if you rate the first slate of shows, so like Falcon Winter Soldier, Hawkeye, which is always going to be my top, because it was so I love Hawkeye anyway. Like he's my favorite Avenger
Nice.
because he's just a dude. Like
Yeah.
everybody else, it's like literal god or cajillionaire or super serum,
Yeah, yeah.
radiation or Black Widow and Hawkeye. Like he's just a dude that like was, hey, I'm gonna be the best archer in the world. I'm gonna be the best marksman there is, period. And he did so much so that he could keep up with these larger than life people. And like that's why I love his speech to Wanda in Ultron, which is why I'm never gonna dump on Ultron, because it's a really solid movie as a Hawkeye fan. Because he has that moment with her, like, listen, I know everything is messed up right now. I know that we are fighting a legion of robots. I'm a dude with a bow and arrow. None of this makes sense. What I do know is if you step out that door, you're not just Wanda, you're an Avenger. So are you with me? You can stay in here. We will come back and get you. But if you step out the door, you have to step up as an Avenger. And then like he just turns and it shows the close up of her like, what did you just say to me? And then he turns, shoots some arrows and goes running out of the building. And then she has that badass scene where she just annihilates everybody and she's ripping all the Ultrons apart. And like, that's because of Clint. And so I just love Hawkeye. I love Kate Bishop. I love the Kate Bishop comics and the West Coast Avengers and all of that stuff.
Nice.
And like, yeah, I'm a total fanboy. So for the Hawkeye show to be as true as it was to the comics that were done by Matt Fraction and David Aja, who is like my favorite. It's my favorite run on any character almost ever. I like just topped, and for them to just do so much true to form was so great as a fan of Hawkeye. that I was like, I don't even care if you don't like it. Like, this is amazing. They have that tracksuit gang. Like, come on.
That was pretty excellent. Yeah.
No. But
Yeah, I enjoyed it. And it was Die Hard. It was Die Hard with Hawkeye. Like, it was good.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was a big fan of it too. Yeah, that was probably one of my favorites. But I know it's not high up on everyone's list. People are kind of frustrated with it, but it's like, you know what? Not everything should be the end of the world all the time.
Yeah.
Right? That's how you're getting bored of it, because it's like you can't go bigger than the whole universe at once. Again, the end game problem. And that's the problem. They always try to replicate that. It's like, well, now the bar is up here. Then maybe lower the bar. Maybe like, I feel like with where their themes they're headed with Spider-Man, right? Where say what you will about the ending and how it kind of technically doesn't make any sense, but it allows for that reset. And now we're going to get the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, and maybe the problem is just, you know, ex-villain doing something, and it's not going to make the whole universe capitalize in on itself, you know? And that's how you build back, is you have to kind of, you know, reset the stakes a bit.
Yeah,
But
you have to return to what made the characters such great characters to begin with.
yeah,
Like, you can't always have Spider-Man in space. He's not Spider Astronaut. He's Spider-Man. Make him a man. Like,
yeah,
put him
exactly.
in his setting, and the fun of that character is like, yeah, he's smart, but he's got classes and homework and relationship issues. Oh yeah, and he's trying to figure out how to be a superhero, like, all at the same time. That's why Spider-Man works. So why would you just take that and be like, oh, and just completely do something different? Because then it's like you're losing who that character is and why that character matters. It fits for the MCU because everything has to be huge, but like, why are you why are they forcing every character into these global catastrophic cosmic conflicts when, like, it doesn't make sense? Brave New World makes sense for Captain America to be on that celestial island. That makes sense because it's a political. Captain America has always been a political character.
Yes.
So like, it fits the character for him to be in that struggle. Do I feel like it was kind of a sequel to the Hulk and not a Captain America movie? Yeah.
Very much so.
But I also get like, hey, we haven't done anything with like all of these loose ends from Eternals and the Hulk. Anything else? No, those two? Okay. Here's what we're gonna do. And like, that's how that movie came about. But there are also reshoots and a bunch of stuff got cut. And we were supposed to see more of the serpents, or whatever the tribe is with the really cool, slick talking guy.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
And like, we were supposed to get more of that. And then I think a lot of that ended up on the cutting room floor, which is too bad because that would have been really fun. But like, I understand the direction they went and I appreciated it. And I was like, yeah, this feels like a Captain America movie, even like set in a Hulk sequel.